Hey Jeff, I'm not happy. I want a divorce. Jeff was kinda surprised, but deep down he saw it coming. They've been married for nearly 20 years, but Darlene had been chatting with her friend Miranda a lot lately. Miranda thinks she's some kind of marriage guru because she's been divorced 3 times. Jeff, are you listening? I want a divorce, Darlene said. Yeah, I heard you, but this is a big deal. I don't want to rush into things. I thought I was a pretty loving and dedicated husband. I reckon I've been a decent dad. You never complained about our sex life, so I had no clue things were going south. But now that I've heard from you, here's my take: I can't bear the thought of our marriage holding you back from being happy. It hurts, but I'll back you up in getting a divorce. Just curious, is this breakup because of something recent, or has it been brewing for a while? Darlene responded, yeah, it's been building up slowly. I need some space and time to see what else is out there, meet new people. Hey guys, so basically the court wants us to be legally separated within 90 days of signing the papers. But I might decide I want to give this marriage another shot, you never know. Jeff was saying something similar about his divorce experience. During the 90-day separation, we're allowed to see other people without it being considered cheating. But in the end, we both have to agree to call off the divorce. However, if one of us wants to go through with it, they can do so without the other's consent. Jeff figured out that Darlene didn't quite grasp that he would have the same freedom as her. He thought that if he filed the papers first, it would be up to him whether to keep the marriage going or to split up. Darlene was unsure, but Jeff disagreed. I don't think that's fair, but just in case, I'll file too so we're on the same page. Isn't that fair? Darlene hesitated. Oh, I guess. She stuttered, are you saying you want a divorce? I must have misunderstood it. I need a man who can be a good husband, father, and lover. No, I don't want a divorce, but I won't stop you from moving on, baby. I never said you weren't good enough. You were a great husband, dad, and lover. I just want to try something new and spend time with other people. It might help me feel better. I just need some space, and being legally separated will give me that freedom. Darlene, the fact that you need more than I can give shows my shortcomings. He was quiet for a bit, then asked, have you found someone else already? Lawyer dude sent over the paperwork, but she didn't care about his feelings of not being good enough. Nah, I don't have the papers yet. I'm thinking of using Junior Lewis, he did Miranda's divorces. Darlene confirmed that she wants more from her marriage. I might ask my cousin Sally to handle my divorce. Sally's a badass, I know you don't like her, but she's legit. She's known for fighting for her clients, no matter if they are dudes or not. So, after the last family barbecue, Sally, who was probably a bit tipsy, jokingly offered to be my divorce lawyer for free. Jeff was surprised and said we need to talk. He suggested I spend the next 2 weeks getting ready for the divorce so we can start the separation on the 1st of the month. I was okay with it, but I didn't get why we had to do anything before the separation. Jeff said it's to see how we feel being apart. Let's get divorced so we can see if we actually want to go through with it. We need to try being separated to see what life will be like after the divorce. Otherwise, we won't figure anything out until it's too late. Does that make sense to you? Maybe I didn't really think about it before. Darlene was starting to doubt her decision. How about we go into the kitchen, grab a notepad, and start planning out what we need to do? I'll make some coffee while we do it. Jeff said as he got up. Darlene was left pondering as she got out of bed and made her way to the kitchen. When she arrived, she saw that the coffee was already boiling and Jeff was busy writing on a notepad. Okay, Jeff said, there's a lot to think about and it's hard to know where to begin. I think we should start by discussing the kids. We need to let them know what's happening and make sure we're both on the same page. We have to make sure they don't blame themselves for our divorce. Darlene started to feel anxious. Both girls were. They are gonna be upset when they hear the bad news. I don't get why we have to tell them everything now. Can't we just wait 90 days and maybe we won't have to say anything at all? But babe, how are you gonna explain when they ask why dad doesn't live here anymore? Or why you don't live here? We can still be their mom and dad. I thought you'd still live here during the separation and we could still hang out sometimes without messing up the kids' lives. I don't know. I reckon this could work, babe. But we'd have to sync up our schedules, why no? It could get messy if one of us wants to go out on a date and the other says it's not a good time. We might start thinking the other one is trying to block us from dating. And how are we gonna know if we can handle life after the divorce if we keep acting the same way? Plus, the kids might figure out or hear from someone else that we are seeing other people. We gotta be honest with everyone, not just each other. Hey, we need to make sure we tell not just the girls, but also all our fam and friends, otherwise they might get the wrong idea and think we are playing them. The worst part is I'm worried that no matter how we break it down for the kids, they are gonna blame themselves. It sucks, but apparently kids of divorce always feel like they are to blame. We just gotta keep telling them the same thing and show them how much we love them. They are good kids and we gotta make sure they know that. They'll probably get used to it eventually, but it might take some therapy. They might even like having extra grandparents from your new man and my new lady, which means more gifts for birthdays and holidays. Of course, we'll have to figure out a tight schedule for where and when we celebrate birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It's already hard enough with just one set of grandparents. And if I stick around, you'll have to visit your man at his place or a fancy hotel. It wouldn't be right for either of us to have a side piece over while the other is home with the kids. We also need to figure out what having two families will do to our finances. Obviously, this will mean less money for us to live on since we'll be adding the cost of my apartment and utilities to our current expenses. You'll have to get used to paying for and taking care of everything we currently share together, which I usually handle for the family. Joint assets are typically split 50-50ths, so we'll have to untangle everything we have together. Looking at checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, and then dealing with child support and fines. There's just so much to do before the first day. Darlene was just sitting there in shock, not knowing what to say. Jeff kept on talking, saying he'll try to find an apartment closer to work so the girls have a bed when they stay over on the nights I have visits. The usual visitation schedule in most divorces is that the non-custodial parent can see the kids every weekend and every other major holiday unless the custodial parent is. Hey, so I'm cool with you seeing Jeff more. I thought you'd be going on more dates with girls, but it seems like you guys are just hanging out at home a lot, doing homework, watching sports, and going to drama events. You both seem to be having a great time together, which is awesome. I'll try to be as involved in their lives as I can, but you and your boyfriend should also step up and help out. Weeknights are tough for visits since they have school the next day and prefer to be at home. If I find someone else, they might have kids too. Man, gotta pitch in with the kids' homework and after-school stuff. And then there's helping out the new hubby with the kids too. Plus, dealing with the hassle of keeping clothes and toiletries in two different places. And don't even get me started on figuring out school transportation since our place might not be near a bus stop for the kids. It's gonna be a real shake-up to our usual routine, and it's definitely gonna be tough on all of us. This whole situation isn't going down like Miranda said it would. Darlena was under the impression that her husband would just back down and agree to keep doing everything he used to for the family, while also letting her see other people. I can't handle this anymore, Jeff. I'm freaking out and I really need some shut-eye. Let's catch up tomorrow. I'm hitting the hay. You're pacing around. She was wishing he'd show up and she'd try to seduce him into caving without having to take any responsibility or split the cash. Sorry babe, but I gotta jot something down before I hit the sack. You know how my mind works. The more we get done before tomorrow, the better we'll feel. Sweet dreams, babe. Darlene barely slept, she needed to talk. I texted Miranda and filled her in on Jeff's crazy reaction. Miranda always knows how to handle these situations. Feeling confident, I finally fell asleep. When I woke up, Jeff wasn't in bed with me. That fool stayed up all night working on the divorce list. I checked the kitchen, but Jeff wasn't there, just a notepad on the table. I peeked into the guest bedroom and found him passed out. I went back to the kitchen and started breakfast while getting everything ready. She was jotting down a list of things to switch up liability for like the mortgage, homeowner's insurance, gas, water, electric, cable, cell phone, garbage, internet security, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, LifeFlight, Metac, and the list just kept going. And on top of all that, they were also discussing all the banking stuff from last night. The next page showed a breakdown of his new expenses for the apartment and a projected budget to figure out how much child support she'd need. To keep up with her and the girl's current lifestyle, they were short a few $100 each month. He even made a list of ways to save money. Jeff will have to give up his beloved trips to Waffle House and Starbucks, which is gonna hurt. She smirked and mentioned her gym membership, the women's group she's in, and eating out more than once a week. He even included some of the kids' expenses like extracurricular activities fees, uniforms, and other stuff they need to pay for. It's gonna affect the kids. So, her whole plan for the divorce didn't even include this. On top of that, she had this whole list of stuff Darlene had to do, like filling up the car with gas, keeping up with car maintenance, calling a mechanic, plumber, and HVAC repair service, mowing the lawn, washing cars, grocery shopping, and all that jazz. She had to write it all down on the notepad. Why can't Jeff just act right and give me what I want? I gotta call Miranda before Jeff wakes up. Hey Miranda, it's Darlene. We gotta talk low-key. Hey, so how did it go last night with Jeff snoozing right beside us? Miranda seemed pretty pumped and hopeful for a good answer from Darlene. Instead of asking what he could do to fix things and avoid a divorce, he just agreed to it and started listing all the stuff he's doing now that I'll have to handle once we split. Jeff's already planning to rent his own place and only see the girls on weekends. He thinks we should really separate and act like it's happening. We are actually divorced now, so we can figure out if we want to stay divorced after 90 days. He's not acting like he's scared of getting divorced. What should I do? He's just trying to trick you, he's bluffing. He's not actually going to sign any papers. It's pathetic that he has to list all the little things he does to make you feel like you need him more than he needs you. Basically, you just need to control the kids and what's between your legs. Those are the only things that will keep him in check. He's just talking, don't stress. Soon you and Robert will be getting it on in bed while you still have a husband and a home. I hope you're right and Robert is worth it. Jeff hasn't done anything yet, so I'll stay strong until I see what he's really up to. Thanks, Miranda. Jeff stood up. I gotta go. Hey Jeff, do you want some coffee? Darlene asked nervously. Her husband stumbled over to the coffee pot and said, drinking coffee late last night was a bad idea. I hardly slept. Why didn't you come to bed? Well, I walked but I didn't trust myself. What do you mean, honey? I saw you sleeping naked and I got really turned on. You're still the most beautiful woman I know. I'm afraid if you let me have sex with you, it would just be pity sex to make me feel better about the divorce proposal. I wasn't sure if I could resist, honey. We are still married, I'm yours and only yours, at least until we separate. Can't we just act like husband and wife until then? I'm afraid not, I'm more confident now. It's more important than ever to start separating, even though the official breakup won't happen until the 1st of next month. It really started the moment you said you were unhappy. It's going to be tough for me, but I want to see you happy, even if I'm no longer a big part of your life. Jeff, you always forget that it's just a separation, we don't have to rush into getting a divorce. Just chill out, give me some time to figure things out, and I'm sure we can stay married and things will be even better. I really wish I could believe that things are better now. I've decided to take the day off so Billy can oversee the maintenance crew while I start sorting out some division issues. The changes won't kick in until the 1st of the month, so we'll have 90 days to see what it would be like if we were divorced. By the way, I'll make sure we both have more cash on hand than usual. We'll have to stick to using cash until we can get our own credit and debit cards. Thankfully, we both have our own checking accounts too. Hey, I'm gonna transfer half the money from our joint account to our individual accounts. We need to do this now so we can get new cards and checks by the 1st of the month. I'll fill you in on what I did and what you need to do to get your share of the money. Hurry up so you're not late for work. I'll get the kids ready for school. Darlene wasn't great at her job as an office manager at the insurance office and Robert showed up as usual. There was this guy, tall with dark wavy hair and a smile that could make women melt. He had a way of making women feel special, and when he told Darlene how gorgeous she was, she couldn't help but blush. He asked when they could hang out and listen to music again, making Darlene feel a bit anxious. She reassured him that they would be able to spend more time together soon in a better setting. But for now, she promised to call him later by the elevator. As he walked away, Darlene's worries about being apart from Jeff were replaced by memories of their time together. Making out and touching Robert in the quick elevator rides they've had lately since he started working there. When Darlene got back from work, she saw signs that Jeff had been there during the day. She felt more ready to handle all the money bullshit he was talking about. It's like, I have 90 days to mess around while we are still married, then I gotta figure out how to hook up with Robert without getting caught. She sat at the kitchen table and stared. So Jeff was at his notebook again, adding a few more things to the list when he noticed a new list titled Possible Women for Today. There were 2 columns, women who have already shown interest and women he wanted to check if they were interested. The columns weren't very long, but the names in the first column shocked him. One of them was his sister Erica. He immediately called her and was like, "Hey Erica, what's up? How could you try to steal my husband?" Darlene was confused and told her to calm down, asking what she was talking about. Jeff had made a list of women who had told him their interest. They want to date him, and your name is on the list. I don't know about the list, but one time I told him when I was drunk that if he ever smartens up and dumps your unappreciative ass, I want to take your place. Wait, what's going on? He's showing you a list of women who want him. Are you saying there's trouble in paradise? Did you catch him or did he catch you with someone else? That's not the point. I just told him I needed some space, some time for myself to explore new things. Relationships, huh? Erica interrupted me and asked if I'm looking for someone on the side. Who is he? Or are there several of them? No, I haven't been close to anyone yet. Jeff and I are just going through a 90-day separation and then we'll decide if we want to stay married or not. It's cool. Obviously you have someone in mind, but I don't care. So you're saying that soon you two will be legally separated and if anyone wants to hook up with Jeff, there's nothing you can do about it. Let me know the date and I'll be there. I swear, as soon as the clock strikes midnight, I'll be begging for a date and telling him he can use my body however he wants. I'm not like my sister, and I'll be loyal to him till the end. You better back off, because if there's a legal separation, there's nothing you can do. You're the one who's been asking for it all these years, boasting about what a great provider, husband, and father he is, mostly to yourself. He was bragging about how great he is in bed and you're thinking about dumping him. How dumb can you be? Have you suddenly turned into a blonde bimbo? Let me know when you're free. This is the only time I'll ever be okay with getting help from an older sister. Bye. After the call, Darlene tried to calm down, but looking at the list of women didn't help. She saw Jenny, his secretary, a short, single mom who was absolutely stunning but almost 20 years younger than Jeff. Yet, there she was, at the top of the list. It was clear that why I know, she was eyeing up her hubby like she was on the hunt for a sugar daddy to look after her and her kid. There were 2 ladies on the list, one of M was already hitched, hence the M next to her name. The other 2 names were gals who worked with Jeff at his job. She recognized a few more names of local gals on the list, probably cause Jeff did a bunch of free work for folks in the neighborhood. Even though he studied psychology in college, he ended up working as a laborer and actually enjoyed it. He really blew up his business, now he's got 3 squads working for him. I reckon he's eyeing up the ladies and checking out their plumbing at home. The 3 chicks on his radar don't even have names, just titles like waitress at Waffle House, barista at Starbucks, and clerk at Walmart. I wonder how many other gals are into him like Erica. I never thought he'd be dating while we were on a break, maybe he's already got someone lined up. Jeff walked in and caught his wife flipping through a notebook. I knew exactly what we were gonna talk about next. Jeff, looks like you wasted no time finding a replacement for me, huh? My dear sister, how could you? I was just trying to keep up with you in finding a boyfriend. What do you mean I have no boyfriend? I just wanna see what else is out there. And what about Robert Turner? How do you know about Robert Turner? What are you gonna do about it? Today, I was at Walmart and bumped into Sylvia, your boss's secretary, during lunch. She's a big gossip, don't believe everything she says. So, Darlene couldn't help herself and was all like, what did she say? And Sylvia was all like, from what I gather, you're tight with our new partner Robert Turner. I must have looked confused, cause she went on to explain how he's always at your wife's office, having lunch every day. I was like, what's up with that? And Darlene spilled the tea about our pres being all strict about mixing business with pleasure. Anyway, turns out Robert is an old college buddy of yours. I know you and your friends used to hang out a lot together, so I reckon Robert might be one of the guys you're considering getting with during your break. How far have you two gone? Robert is just a friend, we didn't do much besides talking. But I think I might be interested in him for dating, he's really sweet to me and compliments me even when I'm not looking my best. Did you guys do anything I wouldn't approve of? Darlene remembered that elevator scene real quick. Her face totally spilled the beans, why I know. And, like, did you guys do something that his girlfriend wouldn't approve of? Wait, he's not even married. Who told you he was married? What do you take me for, huh? You're not even into the guys you wanna meet, are you? I'm gonna check his Facebook now, that's where I found out. After a quick search on the computer, Jeff goes, is this Robert Turner? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's it say about his relationship status? It says he's married to Cynthia, and two sons were trying to think fast and came up with an excuse. Darlene chimed in saying that this info might be outdated, as is already divorced. Check the website, it was updated 3 days ago. Don't you think he could have mentioned if he's married or not? And look at what his ex-wife wrote last time. The boys and I can't wait to see Robert when school's out. Johnny and Robert Jr. were big players on their high school baseball team and could make it to the state tournament. We'll get back together with the family as soon as possible. School's almost out, or maybe later if they make it to the state tournament. I swear, he didn't tell me he was married. I won't do anything to mess up someone's marriage. You don't seem to care about ruining your own marriage. There was silence and Darlene knew she was in deep. She needed time to think. Robert was the main reason she wanted to break up, but she couldn't let Jeff find out. Well, he was just one of many guys I'd be interested in dating. I can make a list just like you. Oh my god, I just remembered something. So, if we want to stay together after we split up, we gotta share our medical reports to make sure we're both clean of STDs. You're being gross. Just a heads up, I wasn't really thinking of dating anyone since it might only be temporary. But if I get horny, I can easily find a girl down for it. I'm sure you wanna feel safe too, right? Remember, it's not just about you, it's about who you're sleeping with. So, they hooked up with other people before you, and then Jeff tried to act like he wasn't into it while Darlene was pissed. Jeff changed the subject and was like, okay I promised to tell you what I did to help with the breakup today. I have a bunch of stuff to take care of, like setting up new bank accounts and closing credit card accounts so you can access your money easily. Sorting out the mortgage, utilities, etc. should be done in the next week or so. Oh, and I have some good news too. Hey, remember when I mentioned that Jenny, my secretary, works nights at the Royal Arms? Well, they have a 2-bedroom apartment up for grabs and it's close to my job. It's usually pricey, but Jenny said I could score a 50% discount on rent if I become an apartment maintenance guy. This would free up some cash for you and the kids. Have you signed the lease yet? We still have 90 days, so you might want to consider moving back here. If you play your cards right, she was gonna spill the tea about his secretary being a gold digger, but she decided it would just stir up more drama. Nope, I haven't signed the lease yet. I had to explain why I was apartment hunting. She mentioned they usually don't do short-term rentals, but since it's for 90 days, she might be able to swing it. When Jenny found out about the divorce, she told me to shoot my shot with her. I was shocked by the age gap and didn't see that coming at all. When she said she thought I was hot, I told her I was flattered, but work policy doesn't allow employees and their bosses to hook up. Jenny suggested she could get a job as a secretary somewhere else if that was the issue. That's why I mentioned it. Darlene was fuming mad, but she held back from saying anything because she knew it would only make things worse. Before Darlene could respond, Jeff added, oh, and by the way, there's more news. Hey, guess what? I got us 2 tickets for a 10-day trip to Hawaii. I didn't tell you earlier because I wanted it to be a surprise for our 20th anniversary. Darlene's attitude completely turned around when she found out. She's so excited about going to Hawaii, she can't wait to relax on the beach and swim in the ocean. Thank you so much for this amazing gift. But Jeff's reaction wasn't as enthusiastic as his wife's. Turns out, we're not going to Hawaii because when you mentioned wanting a divorce, they were like, you might not even make it to our 20th anniversary. When I tried to cancel the order and get my money back, they were like, nah, you can only get 20% back at this point. After thinking about it, I realized that going to Hawaii is like a dream come true. I figured you might still want to go, so I asked them to change the tickets for you and someone else TBD. It could be a great way to kick off your new relationship if you offer your new man an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii. But Jeff, it was always supposed to be with you that I was thinking about going to Hawaii, so maybe we can hold off on the breakup. Actually, I'm considering just calling the whole thing off now that I've had some time to think. I'm not as unhappy as I thought, sorry da. I've really thought about this a lot and I don't think I would be happy knowing that we could end up back in divorce talks. Even if you decide to cancel the divorce now, you can't take back what you said you wanted. And I can't stop imagining what you and Robert were up to when you weren't doing anything special. I'll probably end up going my own way. I'm moving forward with the divorce no matter what you decide, but I can't picture my life without you and only being halfway there for my girls. Jeff went upstairs to the guest room. Darlene was crushed. She knew the only person to talk to was Miranda. She called, "Hello, Darlene. How are you?" "Miranda, everything's a mess. Jeff found an apartment and his skinny secretary is already hitting on him. Even my sister wants to date him. The worst part is he had tickets to Hawaii for our anniversary and he gave them to me. I asked him if I could borrow his car, but he refused. He said I could use it to impress my new boyfriend. What should I do now?" "Hey, what's the deal? You and Robert are gonna have a blast in the sun, have fun, and have amazing sex." "No way, I just found out that Robert is married and his wife and kids are moving here soon. I can't do it, I don't want to go to Hawaii with him, I want to go with Jeff." "Hold up, I just figured out what's going on." Miranda protested, "Damn, Jeff is way smarter than I gave him credit for. He lied and said he'd booked the trip ages ago. Just trying to make you feel bad and stop the divorce. Don't stress, with your sexy body you can find boyfriends better than Robert in no time and still have a husband and family. Oh my God, I never knew he could be so cruel. I'll make him pay for this." "Thank you Miranda, I was about to give up. He's gonna regret it. Let's chat later." When Jeff came down, he had a small bag. "So you're acting like you're already moving out, huh?" "Don't worry, good riddance. Actually, I was just about to leave. Jenny told me to bring some stuff into the apartment little by little so we don't have to carry everything at once and freak out the girls. She said I could start moving stuff in before the official move-in date since the place was empty anyway. Your attitude seems different since we last talked. Let me guess, you were chatting with your marriage guru Miranda. You should really talk to someone who knows about marriages if you want to make it work. Miranda is more of a divorce expert, that's all she's good at. Don't try to insult me by dissing Miranda, she's got my back. She even caught you red-handed with that Hawaii ticket. You're trying to pull a fast one on me with this story just to try and make me give up everything. Nice try, but it's not going to work. I still want a divorce and I can't wait to get it. There are plenty of guys out there who want me and will give me what I need. You're right about one thing, there will be no shortage of guys lining up for you once they know you're single. I've always felt like the luckiest person in the world to have such a gorgeous woman like you as my partner in raising our kids. So, like, my wife used to be a loyal wife and lover, but you're mistaken about her trip to Hawaii. I have proof, just call Lois Simpson at Flightright Travel Agency, she's the one who planned it all. I'll call you, Lois. It's Jeff Sinclair again. My wife is listening on speakerphone now, so spill about the trip. She has a bunch of questions, of course. Sorry, Jeff, it looks like you can't go. It seems like you really wanted to surprise your wife and have a good time on your vacation. What were her questions? Yo, Mrs. Sinclair spilled the tea on what's in this supposed trip, Darlene snarled. It's our 10-day vacay to 2 islands with our top hotel, food, transportation, hula classes, luau, tiki dances, surfing, swimming, dancing, all in a super romantic vibe. I've been on this trip with my hubby a few times and it's really helped our marriage. When did my hubby first book this trip? Well, darling, I was certain this would expose the ruse. Let's check my records. He first called about 3 months ago then. Hey, so this guy picked this trip 2 months back and paid for it 2 weeks later. Yesterday, he called to cancel but I could only refund 20%. Surprisingly, he told me to go ahead and find someone else to go with him. That tells me what kind of husband he is. You're just lucky. Any other questions? You gotta give me the other person's name ASAP. I can't book plane tickets without it. I'll hit you up with some questions real quick and spill the tea on Darlene's name. She was trying to picture what Miranda would say about this info. After a sec, she caught on and was like, you think you can pull a fast one on me again, huh? You two made a pact with Lewis to fake planning a Hawaii trip before I brought up divorce. Well, guess what? I'm onto you. She was feeling pretty smug for figuring it out without Miranda's input. Jeff let out a big sigh and was like, maybe you should chat with your folks. What's up with my parents, anyway? Who do you think will watch the girls while we're out? Let's call them. Darlene was shocked. Oh, you don't have to do that. I need some time to think. Sorry, I'm already calling. But Jeff. The call was picked up by her mom, who saw the caller ID. Darlene, how are the girls? Glad to hear from you. Hi Mom, Darlene said hesitantly. Hi Mom, this is Jeff. We are on speakerphone. Wait a minute, I'll call your dad too. In the background, Darlene and Jeff heard, Harold, this. Jeff and Darlene picked up the phone and hey guys, what's up? Harold chimed in when Darlene stayed quiet. Jeff finally spoke up, telling their son that Darlene knows the deal now so no need to keep it hush-hush. They are sorry he can't go, but he never explained why when he called this morning. They hope it's not some sickness. When he called to say they wouldn't babysit the girls for his Hawaii trip that got cancelled, they were bummed out because they were excited about it. So, the girls were with us for 10 days and we were bummed that you couldn't go with Darlene. We know she really wanted to go on this trip with you instead of someone else. Have you figured out who you're gonna take with you yet, Darlene or one of the girls? It's gonna be tough for whoever stays behind. No, Mom, I haven't decided yet. How long has it been since Jeff mentioned Hawaii to you? I'm not sure, Harold. Wasn't it on New Year's? I'm pretty sure it was like 2 or 3 months ago. He said he wanted to give us a heads up so we can load up on junk food. These two can eat anything and never gain a pound. Jeff, Darlene's mum stepped in and asked if something happened to Darlene. Why are you asking? When Jeff talked to us, is there something wrong between you? Oh God, did you guys break up? Darlene replied, no, Mom, not really. We kind of decided that we needed some space, some time apart to recharge the marriage battery, and then maybe get back together. I'm not going to lie to your parents. Mom, Harold told me last Sunday night that she wants a divorce. She was trying to soften the blow by saying it's just a 90-day trial separation to work on herself and become a better wife and mom. But I know when someone is feeding me a load of BS. So, do you have a plan, Darlene? Side piece boyfriend, no father figure at all. Jeff was about to speak up but decided against it. Harold kept talking while his wife cried in the background. I can't believe you would do something like that, we raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be nice to your new man, Darlene. We are really sorry, Jeff. Just promise us that we can still see our grandkids after the divorce. Darlene started crying too and cut Jeff off before he could reply. Jeff has really messed up this whole situation. I take back what I said about splitting up. Let's talk later when things settle down. Jeff saw Darlene crying and told her to get it together because the girls will be back soon. Then he grabbed a suitcase and headed towards the door. Where are you going? Darlene asked. I said I don't want a divorce. You don't have to leave. You can't just decide you want a divorce without talking to me first, Jeff said. Now you think you can decide we won't get divorced on your own. Things ain't going as you thought, and you don't get that I have a say in this. After finding out some stuff about you this past week, I'm not sure giving up on divorce is the right move. I'm gonna grab a sleeping bag from the garage and crash in the apartment tonight. Jeff, please don't leave. I'm sorry, you said it was fine before I brought up the whole divorce thing. Can't we just brush it off and go back to how things were? You said you were happy, I was happy, very happy, but I can't. Hey, remember when you said you were unhappy and thinking about cheating on me with Robert? Well, Sally told me she's ready to file for divorce and can probably have the papers ready by tomorrow. I told her I won't sign them, but Darlene doesn't care. She just wants to make sure you get served officially. She might even do it at your job so there are plenty of witnesses, maybe even Robert. He might even try to sue for alienation of affection. Crazy, right? So, the thing is, I could totally rat out our boss for breaking company rules, but then we'd both be out of a job. That seems a bit extreme, don't you think? I need you to take care of the kids after we split up. I'll just have a chat with Robert's wife, that should teach him a lesson. Why are you being so mean? I love you and you love me, right? Can't we find a way to fix this? You said divorce would be rough on both of us, so let's try to avoid all that pain. I promise I won't bring up the D word again. Please, let's just stick together and work this out. Darlene was crying her eyes out, but Jeff just stood there, not saying a word. She thought she had really gotten through to him. She promised to be the best wife ever, swore she wouldn't even glance at another guy. She reminded him of the almost 20 years of marriage they had, the two amazing kids they raised together, how she always had his back with his business, even when he'd show up late and all dirty. She was so proud of his success. She begged for one more chance, but Jeff finally spoke up and said, "You know what? I'll just grab my suitcase and crash somewhere else tonight. Bring your ass back to the apartment, I need you to write down some stuff. Your words and actions really hurt me more than you realize. If your responses are what I need to hear, I might think about canceling or delaying the divorce. I'll be there at 7, you should probably send the kids to their grandparents or friends so we can talk freely." Yep, thanks. What do I write? First off, I want you to apologize for starting this whole mess and I want you to beg for forgiveness. And I mean really beg, not just a half-assed attempt. And secondly, I need you to let Robert know to stop hitting you up with threats. What are you gonna say to your wife if he keeps bothering you? Tell him I'll sue his ass and his company if he doesn't back off. Also, give me a list of all the reasons why I should even think about staying married to you. And lastly, call Miranda and make it clear you never want to hear from her again. I'm serious, if I hear anything she says through the grapevine, I'm outta here. Do you get what I'm asking for if you want this relationship to work out? Hey, I think we can make it work and stay married. I'll do whatever it takes. Let's meet at 7. Okay, see you then. Jeff grabbed his suitcase and headed out. Darlene looked at the list and practiced what she would say to Miranda. Listening to you was the biggest mistake I ever made. Because of you, I almost lost everything I care about. Don't ever call, text, email, or even think about me. If you see me out, just walk away or I can't be responsible for what I do. Darlene was surprised at how good she felt after standing up to Miranda. So, she rang up Robert and spilled the beans about how Jeff wanted him to pass on the message that she didn't want to hear his pathetic pleas to meet up one last time at the motel. He was calling her names and insinuating that she was no good in bed anyway. She shut him down by warning him that she could easily have her husband call his wife if he kept causing trouble. Surprisingly, the hardest thing on her to-do list turned out to be the easiest, a list of reasons why Jeff should want to stay married to her. Once she let go of wanting more than what she had with Jeff, she was finally able to think clearly. Darlene had a whole list of all the good times they had together. She thought she could impress Jeff with it. She didn't have any issue asking him to forgive her for the divorce scam. She realized how dumb, selfish, and full of herself she had been. She promised herself never to do it again. By 7 o'clock, Darlene was ready and feeling confident. She got a bit nervous when 7 came and Jeff wasn't there. 5 minutes later, he showed up without any luggage. Darlene noticed that his expression hadn't changed since he left that afternoon. She tried to be as nice and humble as possible. Here are my answers. I hope you change your mind, Jeff. He stared at the list for a while, and as he read, tears started flowing. Darlene also started crying because he was crying, but she took it as a good sign. It's really touching. Her heart was filled with hope and she tried to hug him, but he gestured for her to go back to her seat. What you did is nice, but I'm not sure if you realize how much you hurt me. I think I have to go through with the divorce. Darlene was crushed, her heart felt like it was breaking. She got thrown to the ground and just collapsed, bawling her eyes out. Her sadness was like nothing she had ever felt before. In her low state, she said, "I've ruined my family's life. I'm the worst person alive. I don't deserve to live. How could I be so stupid?" Jeff kneeled in front of her and whispered, "Now you know how I felt." As Darlene cried on the floor, he walked to the door, paused, and asked her, "Is it true that we can see other people during our break?" His wife struggled to compose herself. We were finally able to talk about it, but she kept crying too much to keep going. "So, if we are free to see other people, what are you up to on Friday night? Fancy grabbing some dinner and catching a movie? Are you actually asking me out on a date? I reckon we've messed up our old relationship, but maybe we could start fresh." Darlene got up and hurried over to Jeff, saying yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so your second BAE doesn't stray, and go ahead and listen to what's next. Listen up, this story ain't nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, just don't even bother tuning in.